property. We are going to pick butternut squash with them, and we're going to talk all about how to pick it, how to cure it, and how to store it. Butternut squash, if stored properly, will really last, I don't know, forever. Probably not forever, but at least a year. I know I've eaten year-old butternut squash and it was great. There was absolutely nothing wrong with it. For those of you that don't know, this is where Arthur and I got married. We also lived out here in a camper with our kids for a whole year trying to get out of debt. That was right before we bought our homestead. Hopefully we'll get to tell that story really soon. We sold our camper to some friends so we can actually go see it again and give you guys a tour of it. Here is their butternut squash patch. This is where we're about to be picking. It comes all the way over here into the sweet potatoes. Look at these sweet potatoes. Now, if you didn't know, you can actually eat sweet potato leaves. There's butternut squash coming in right here. There's the fence. We're on the outside of the garden now. Look, the butternut squash comes all the way out to right. There's one. There's a bunch there. There's the fence. There's the inside of the garden. Here is the fence, and here's the pumpkins coming way, 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 way out. And then here's the main pumpkin patch. There's a cute pumpkin right there. This guy grew on the fence. This one got a little confused and grew in the fence. Good morning, Grandma.
Good morning.
Grandma is our resident butternut squash expert, and now every single year she blesses our family with a load of squash, and it happens to be Arthur's favorite food, and so I'm really thankful for that. About how many squash do you think you're gonna harvest this year?
I think we might have like 70 or 80 of them from 4 little tiny hills of squash, and in each hill I might have let 2 or 3 plants grow. So this is a very small area that they start in, but then they spread all over the place. So you have to give them some space to grow, because they will take over everything. And they're pretty low maintenance except for squishing bugs. You have to squish the little beetles that get on them, that also get on all the other squash. And that keeps the leaves green. Mick has been squishing 100 at a time. 300 at a time some days, and the greens have all come back, and so they're continuing to grow.
How do you know that they're ripe?
But this is what they look like when they're ripe. They turn this nice tan, and you can't push your thumbnail through the shell once they're ripe. It's a good hard shell, and that's what you want for it to be able to last through the winter. You will lose a few will rot, especially if they have an insect hole in them. But when we cut them, we have to leave some stem on them, because that hole will also produce rot.
You know that it's ready to pick when you can't put your thumbnail through the skin.
You might make a dent, but you're not going to be able to cut into it. It's really hard, and you can wait almost till frost. They'll keep hardening out here.
So do the squash cure out in the garden?
They begin to harden. Now, the curing process, what I've read, and we've never done this before, what we've always done is just picked them and put them in a box and stuck them under a bed in a cool room. But what I've read this year is that you want to leave them in a room that's like 70 to 80 degrees or in the sun for maybe a week, and then put them in a cool, dry place. So it just gives them a little harder shell. And so we're going to try that this year. But we've always had pretty good success and just lost a handful of them. And you have to check them regularly, because they stink when they rot. And if they get too far under that bed, you might forget to check them.
So once you pick them, and once they've cured a little in the field, and then you pick them, and then you take them home to cure, how do you store them?
Okay, I go down to the grocery and get boxes, these shallow boxes, and I'll store them in open boxes going back and forth, so they can stack up about 5 or 6 high. Sometimes under the bed, sometimes in the spare bedroom, in Christopher's bedroom. So he comes home from school and has to sleep with all the produce in his bedroom. We just keep that door shut. We don't heat the room at all, and he likes to sleep in a cool bedroom, so it works pretty well.
Could you show us real quick the way to successfully pick a squash so that it stores well?
Sure. Now, all of the squash isn't quite done, but we're going to pick some of the ones that have a browner stem. And that's one of the ways we also know that they're more ready to pick.
So there's a nice brown stem, and she cut it as far away as she could to the vine. And it's brown on the inside as well. Look at all that squash.
Yeah, it's nice and it's so delicious. I think we've got almost 50 here and maybe another 30 out there. We're not sure because some of them are hiding. They're still a little green, so we're going to leave them until maybe a week or two. We have to get them before the first frost.
All right, let's go look at those pumpkins.
All right.
Good morning, Grandpa.
Good morning. We're pipkin. We're pipkin the pumpkin patch.
What kind of pumpkins did you grow?
These are Connecticut field pumpkins.
What are they good for?
I don't know. They're pretty. I just threw them in. I had a little patch there where we had our manure pile, and I didn't know what to put in it, so I just threw in a few pumpkin seeds, and they just ran all over the place. Use 2 hands on your knife. There's some prickly things on there. Good job. All righty.
Very nice. It's green and orange.
Mm-hmm. You can turn it. Use 2 hands and just lift real hard.
Very pretty. There's the pumpkin! And here we have what Grandma and Grandpa shared with us. They told me they're gonna give me half of that butternut squash, so I'll have to pick the rest of that up another day. I gotta make a spot for it at my house. I think I'm gonna start naming our vlog, How to Acquire Free Food Through Community. Really though, we are so blessed. People just keep pouring out their abundance to us. Something that really struck me was that no money was given. It was food, it was time, it was heart, it was energy, it was thought. And I mean, I think everyone knows that all those things are more important than money, but I really believe that when you receive them and in such a great amount as we have lately, that it kind of hits home to you. And another thing I was thinking about is just thinking about in days past when communities were much smaller, that there would probably be a lot more of that kind of gifting. You know, your neighbor giving you what they have extra of, and you giving your neighbor, you know, what grew well for you, and kind of everyone just having enough because you were sharing with your neighbor. Joyful set up the picnic tables and picked a bunch of various things from the garden, and she's calling us all down here to eat. You got us hazelnuts and onions and kale. Thank you. You got that one for me?
Let me try this one.
Thank you.